All right. Welcome into Back Porch Sports. Consider this your Braves Yankees doubleheader primer. If you happen to get it in before Game 1 of the doubleheader this afternoon with Ian Anderson making his debut, and if not, maybe it'll prepare you for Max Fried and his start in Game 2. Some really big tests coming up for two guys at very different parts in their careers. And Peter Moylan joining me today. You'll find Peter on Fox Sports. Breaking down the Braves action, former Braves pitcher himself. Peter, how you doing today?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, all things considered. I'm excited about this series, and it's kind of the trend, right? The Braves call somebody up, and the game gets delayed or postponed. We saw that with Christian Pache last week, and now it's Ian Anderson's turn to battle those nerves for an extra 12 to 16 hours. But he finally gets a shot today against the Yankees, and congratulations. Aaron Judge gets called back up on the same day. How about that?
And I think he's from Long Island or Staten Island, or he's from up there too. So if that doesn't add a little bit of pressure to it, then I'm not sure what does. But I think it will help him. I think it'll calm him down a little bit. It's, because it would have been frustrating last night. So you go from the absolute excitement to your debut to frustration of not being able to do it, and then you sort of take a step back and go, okay, get to reload, restart, take it all in. Yesterday would have been crazy, but with an extra day, I think it'll be nice. And I had a friendly bet on Twitter with someone about the Cole Anderson matchup and the amount of strikeouts that will happen. And they're obviously it's Cole, he's going to strike out the world, which he probably will. I mean, he strikes out everyone, but the benefit is to the pitcher when hitters haven't seen them. So get him through that lineup twice and with a couple of punches, and I reckon he'll be all right.
Yeah, and look, it's not like outside of Max Fried right now, the Braves have any guarantees with the starting pitcher. So yeah, just get him while you can, and that's the fascinating dynamic about baseball. You think that this kid's coming up, it's his debut, he's playing the Yankees, the big bad Yankees. He doesn't have a chance, but like you said, they don't know him. He's a stranger, and just as much of these guys are strangers to him, but he's an X factor for sure today. So that'll be fun to watch.
Kids are different these days
Yeah,
too, though. Kids are very different they's days. Like they don't come up. There's the nervousness isn't there. I'm sure it is deep down, but they sort of carry themselves differently. They're more confident. They feel like they belong, and I think it's the changing of the culture and the acceptance of younger guys, knowing that they can have an impact on the game straight away. So you want to make them feel as comfortable as possible, rather than, hey, you're a rookie, go sit on the couch or get out of the training room. Or it's completely changed, and it's for the better.
how much of a chance did you feel like Bobby Cox was taking on you when you made your debut? I mean, you had a little bit of a different path to the big leagues, coming out of Australia, obviously, but Bobby Cox took a shot, and you made your debut against the Phillies and had a pretty good start from what I remember.
Bobby Cox and the Braves took a massive chance on me. I was a pharmaceutical rep who was pitching for Team Australia in the World Baseball Classic, and just happened to be seen by a few scouts, and the Braves liked what they saw, so they gave me a shot. But I was in. This was in March of 2006. By April of 2006, I was in the big leagues.
Wow.
So I'd gone from being released out of minor league baseball in 1998, working 7.5 years, 8 years, regular jobs, doing everything you could think of: pool plumbing, glass splashback installer, concreting, sales rep. I did it. Anyway, came back over here. I'm now pitching for Australia. The next day I signed with the Braves. 2 weeks later, I go to a big league game. Bobby Cox calls me over from the minor league side to pitch in a big league game as a backup. I guess he liked what he saw. Called me back over a couple of days later to see it again. And then I spent the rest of the time basically in minor league camp. Started the year in AAA. Pitched in 2 baseball games of professional baseball games since 1998, and got called up to the big leagues.
That's insane. What was the first game, the appearance for you? What was going through your mind? I know, neither one of us really know Ian Anderson, really well, if at all. But I think those nerves are a little bit universal, to some extent. So, what was your first appearance like?
So it'll be completely different because he's got the build up. He knows exactly when he's going to pitch and he knows the start time, so he can prepare himself from a time standpoint. I was called up, went to the clubhouse, walked into a clubhouse that featured John Smoltz, Andrew Jones, Chipper Jones, and was kind of like, holy shit. Then I had to go to the bullpen, and then every time the phone rang, because I had no idea how it all worked in the big leagues. You try and ask questions, but they're trying to get ready for the game too. So you don't just want to be that kid, the puppet that's sort of just sitting there asking questions the whole time. So I'm out in the bullpen. Every time the phone rings, you think it's going to be you. It's never you at that point, but eventually it was me on the first night. So phone call, not me. Second phone call, you need to get up. I got up, got loose, didn't get in the game. They call back again, get him up again. I got up again, nerves beating out of my chest. Like such a lack of feel that I don't think I threw anything but a fastball because I didn't want to warm up with anything else because I didn't know where it was going to go. And there was 40-something thousand people there. I'd never pitched in front of more than, like, I think in the Classic there was 8,000 people there. So it went from 8,000 to 45,000 in a hurry. And 4 months ago, I was pitching in beer league baseball. So the call comes, yep, your next hitter, you're going in, and I'm running in. I don't remember touching the ground on the way in at all. I had the bill of my cap down on my eyes so that I couldn't look above the sort of first level.
Smart.
And then I didn't do that until after the inning. And then I looked up and it was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't see that.
It's like Kenny Powers, man.
Right. That's what it felt like because I literally was in beer league baseball 4 months earlier, and all my mates who'd been on this journey with me were sort of like, it was, hey, we want you to come try for the Australian team. Hey, you're gonna pitch against Japan. You're gonna try you against Chinese Taipei. You're on the team. You're pitching against Venezuela. You're gonna sign with the Braves. You're in the big leagues, all within 4 months.
Did any of those guys tell you how lucky you were that Greg Maddux wasn't around when you got your call up?
I'd heard the stories. Yes, I heard he was one of the many that like. I'm not even going to get into it, but yes, I understand that I'm much better off. I've met him before, but I'm much better off not having been his teammate.
Yeah, and if you're listening, you can look up and do your own research into that. But yeah, Greg would set the tone. I mentioned the Braves starters having a little bit of an issue right now outside of Max Fried. We heard from Mike Soroka today, and he is doing well, I guess, as well as he can be, given that Achilles injury. And I don't think I'm alone in thinking, given the way this season has gone because it's shortened due to the pandemic, that night when he went down, it seemed like one of the darkest Braves moments I can really remember in recent history. And they're holding their own, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. Someone, again, on Twitter had written something talking about the record and the injuries and what we've had to go through. No Acuna, no Albies. Markakis goes down. We've basically got one starting pitcher who's having some success, and we're leading the division still. I don't know how this whole winning percentage thing is going to play out. Like, I think I'd be pretty frustrated if at the end of the year a team gets in who played 15 or 20 less games than me. Buck Showalter has said that he would like to see a minimum amount of games played in order to qualify for the finals, which I think makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they've sort of got a hold of it, and they have been able to control it. So I think the season's going to finish. So I think, if we can hold on and if Hamels can somehow work his way back to the mound for the last couple of weeks. There's 2 playoff spots in every division, so it's up for grabs. You just got to really get there. It's almost like a play-in tournament to get to the real thing.
We spoke about Ian Anderson and the nerves that'll come with his first start, but Max Fried is a guy right now that has carried every bit of the load that you could ask for him to do, stepping in kind of the 1B ace while Soroka was still pitching, and here he is doing everything he can, man. And this test against the Yankees, I'm pumped to see what Fried can do against this lineup.
Mm-hmm, me too. I mean, I'm pumped for Ian Anderson. I'm pumped for Fried. I'm pumped to see Cole. I never thought that I'd be enjoying baseball as much as I am, given the crap that we had to go to, or everyone had to go to for the first few months. I honestly thought that the crowd noise was going to be awful. The players weren't going to be into it, but it almost looks like it's bringing the players close. If you're in a good team and you're having fun and you're having success, it's bringing that team feeling closer together, which is something that can't be measured. And we talked about it a little bit before, but it can't be measured. And it's a real thing. Like if you're having fun, you don't have to be like each other to have success. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is, for a successful team to be as successful as they possibly can be, that camaraderie has got to be there, and that respect has got to be there, and that almost brotherly, I'd fight for you has got to be there. Like it can't just be a bunch of guys that have come together from all over the world and are trying to come together for a goal. And like you've got to do those exercises that build the team, and you've got to have a Rossi in there, or you've got to have someone that sort of takes a lead and will control the guys so that the coaches don't have to.
I think the fact that we've seen, I think 3 of these socially distanced walk-off celebrations now, which were kind of like goofy at the beginning, but now they're getting better at it, and it's like a reflex to these guys now. I mean, I think that's a testament to exactly what you just said, and the metric that's pointing to that is 83 last at-bat wins since Brian Snitker got this skipper role. And that's the most in Major League Baseball. And you can either call that a fluke, or you can say and identify, and I believe Snitker's got his fingerprints on that some way, somehow. Knowing what you know about him, what is it about playing for him that these guys love so much and makes wins like that possible?
It's the same feeling that you got when you played for Bobby. They talk about a guy being a player's manager, and what that basically means is that every player on that team understands that that coach or that manager has his back no matter what. Like you can go out there and you can do a bonehead play and he will never, ever, ever call you out for it. He will defend you until he's blue in the face. And that's the kind of guy that you want to fight for. He has a way about the way that he speaks that makes you sort of feel calm. And there doesn't seem to be any panic. You can see it in the interviews that he does. You know, guys will ask him questions and there's no panic in his answers. It's a genuine answer every time. It's not like he's trying to read off a script. You get the real snit when you ask him a question. And I think people appreciate that. And I know players do. And 83, he won't get credit for 20 of them, but you and I know that, you know, the feeling that those guys have, and it's not just a want for snit. Like it's just, they all want to win. He just makes it easier for them to win and puts everybody in a position to win. And, you know, people question some of the moves that he does on a daily basis, but he's been around the game for 40 years and he's got people around him that are using the new analytics. So it's not just, oh, he's so old school in the way he thinks. He's doing the best of both, which I've said many times. It's the combination of the new and the world and the new and the old that's going to be able to drive this forward, because the game is going in a direction that is modernizing, but you can't forget about the guys that have played for the 50 years beforehand, who have done it without all the instruments and tools that you guys have got now, but have been able to do it. And they know different parts of the game. They can offer different advice. They can offer different words that might hit differently than just reading a number off a sheet. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
The best coaches I've been around, the best coaches that I see now are the ones that can read the data, analyze it, translate it, spit it out in a way that someone understands, and they can go and do it on the field.
Yeah, I think, look, that's a byproduct of everyone on Twitter specifically being a GM, right? And I think that is something that you see on Twitter, regardless of what you're talking about. There's really not much of that nuance that is real. That's the reality. It is a balance between, you know, taking a little bit of the old experience and taking a little bit of the new stuff. Like the old world baseball fans get raked over the coals,
right.
You know,
players too, not just fans, players too. Because
right.
if they voice their opinion and it's not, and you know, these guys aren't technically savvy, so they're not going to be, like, they don't have the friends online that a lot of people that are trolling would. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that they might say something that doesn't make sense, or they might say something that someone doesn't appreciate. But this is a former Major League Baseball player, you know.
Yeah.
Veterans that have had good 10-year, 15-year careers that are just getting shit on because it's not what the new generation wants to hear, which I think it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and you just have to take it all, you know, with a grain of salt, because, you know, the most vocal people on Twitter don't always represent what the most of the population thinks or believes. And I can't help but laugh. Like, an example of this to me, the Braves posted a photo on Twitter the other night of like a sunset. Right, it had nothing to do with the game, had nothing to do with Snit's managerial decisions, and like the first 3 comments were like DFA Tukey, take Ender out of the lineup. It's just like, this is the way people operate now, man. It is just like, it sucks, but it's also comical to a degree.
It's been a rough 6 months. People looking for
Yeah.
things to sort of vent on, I guess. And look, it's fun, exactly what you said. It's not a representation of what I see when I'm driving around, but it's also I get hooked on it, and not the drama. I get hooked on the content that you can get on Twitter. It's like, I tweeted Shane Bieber's curveball this morning, because when you turn the volume up, you could hear the spin on it, and I'd never heard that before. And I thought it was very interesting. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm there for. It's like, that's the stuff that with stadiums filled, unless you're in Miami, you're not going to hear that silence.
Yeah.
So
no, it's easy to get caught up in the stuff that can like make you feel like really, really down at the end of the day. But you're right. That's the stuff I'm choosing to look at and enjoy. And I think that's what's really fun. I think that takes me to your tweet about your delivery the other day of your Yeti cooler. What the hell happened?
It's the most confusing thing that's ever happened to me. Right?
I'm gonna try and screen share this for the people that are that are watching this on YouTube. But go ahead.
My wife ordered a nylon roll of, there it is, of this little, I guess for my daughter to do some arts and crafts downstairs. Right? They stuffed. I didn't order the Yeti. Like, there was nothing on my order that said Yeti, but I got that secondhand Yeti stuffed in my package, and that's how the package was delivered. It was like the Ace Ventura episode where he's literally trying to break the package, and that's how it showed up. And there was another envelope, because part of the order was some crayons. The envelope had been destroyed, and all the crayons were broken. I don't understand. I don't know if I did something to make the FedEx driver angry, or
maybe he's a Mets fan.
Maybe he's a Mets fan. But yeah, I could not believe it.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I'm trying to find it here. These delivery guys, man, and this was before the pandemic, just kind of kicking it up the steps, rolling it over.
At least it looks like it might have got there in one piece. Whereas
yours got an extra piece.
Right. So I have another frustrating thing, and this is going to sound like, again, first world problems issue, but I have a gate, electronic gate at the front of my house, strictly because I have dogs and I want the dogs to be able to run freely around my yard. Right. It's not a privacy thing. It's not, I give the gate code out to literally everyone that comes to the house. It's not like, oh, you can't touch me. So I leave the gate open. I've put it on everything. It's written everywhere. And these people refuse to open the gate. And refuse. I have a walk-through gate next to the gate. If they don't want to push the buttons or do whatever, they refuse to walk around the gate, and they just dump everything at the front of my house. It's infuriating.
They don't there's no way they're reading those special instructions. Like, you could write, drive your truck through my gate and park in my living room, and you'd be totally safe, because there's no way they're reading those instructions. I will not. I don't want to give that a shot. I don't want to risk it just in case I actually get, that UPS driver may have been booted. Yeah. I don't care what you've written. I'm driving. Well, listen, Peter, I don't know if you can hear this, but my 7-month-old is hollering in the background. She does not want to abide to her nap schedule today. But one last question for you before we wrap up. She's okay, I promise. As you've watched the Braves starters outside of Max Fried, what is the common thread? What do these guys need to do to put the club, not only keep them on the trajectory that they're on, but, maybe fortify their momentum a little bit down the stretch?
I think the issue that they have that is a little different to most people is that when teams rebuild, a lot of those young starters get multiple opportunities for extended periods of time because there's no rush to win, right? The Braves aren't in that situation right now. The Braves have got 3 guys, 3 spots that they need to try and fill with arms that they can get quality innings out of right now, and there's just no time for them to falter. And it's unfortunate for a Kyle and a Tukey and a Nuke, but I'm sure they're down there working their asses off to get back as well. And you just think if Nuke can come back and make an impact in that pen like he did last year, he's still an effective guy for me too. It's just we don't have time to let these guys try and figure it out at the big league level. So I just think it's not a case where you give up on these guys now. It's just you've got to get in a situation where they have time to develop, because the stuff's there. I mean, the stuff is there. Holy cow. It's insane how good the stuff is. But until you can harness it, it's just stuff.
Yeah. Well, that trade deadline coming up too. So we'll see if
interesting. It's very interesting.
Double A wants to take a shot on something there.
Right.
I mean,
he usually
shorter
does.
Season, go all in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if you did. All right, Peter, thank you so much. Enjoy this doubleheader. Enjoy the rest of the season. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
All right. Take care. Thank you again, man.
Bye.
Bye.